Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we are diving into the world of multivac, specifically talking about the price action of MTV and where we think things are likely to go next. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here. Right, with that said, done out of the way, let's dive right down into this daily chart for MTV and talk about what's going on here with multivac. Right, so guys, we are paired up with Tether and we are using KuCoin as the data source, so you guys can replicate this if you want. But basically we have some pretty interesting stuff going on here with multivac, right? So we obviously had the previous high just up here, and this was set at 1.89 cent. We then obviously had the pullback with Bitcoin. This occurred back in May, and this got us down to basically 0.0019, so super cheap at this point, right? So this basically became my accumulation zone for MTV, right? Basically bouncing around this zone was super lucrative, and we were able to pick up some pretty good positions as we were wicking into this area. As you can tell, we were not in here for very long, so identifying this was quite key and allowing us to basically build up a pretty good position with multivac, right? We did find a few additional areas on this journey. There's one over here, for example, that we were able to buy back into and basically, build that position. And again, this is all communicated to you guys as well via the member section. Now, again, up here at the 786, there's another opportunity that we've briefly been talking about and being able to buy back in. This coming in at that 1.5, 1.35, and of course the 1.2 cent area, right? So this area was quite key most recently. Now, there was an upward trend line here. This was briefly broken before actually pushing back up above it and then turning it into a support most recently. We're going to get into that on the smaller time frames in a moment. Now, there are two things that I want to talk about on this daily chart. One, we obviously have a Fibonacci retracement tool just over here based on all-time high and all-time low, or the launch date and obviously the bear market low. Okay, so this particular Fibonacci right here. This one actually shows us moving up to 9.2 cent. Okay, so pretty good move to the upside to be had there if we do see that come in through. And then we have a fib over this side. This one's based on current performance, taking the high of 1.8 cent and the low of that correction wave that we saw, coming in at 0.0019. Okay. Now, both of these are really low targets in my mind, and they're low targets for a couple of reasons. One, we have seen the Mainnet go live, right? And that Mainnet go live basically has introduced staking. Staking, you basically lock up your MTV and you earn a passive income on your MTV holdings, right? You'll earn more MTV for staking your MTV, right, your multivac. And as a result of that and the goals and the targets that are associated with it, basically we've seen multivac staking go from 1 billion, 2 billion, and now it's approaching the 3 billion level. Now, this doesn't sound like a lot to many people, but the supply, or the total circulating supply of multivac, is only 3.59 billion. So if we get to 3 billion staked, then there's only basically 590 million, I should say, that is not staked. That's totally out there in circulation. That's on exchanges, owned by people, but not staked. It's a real big squeeze on the supply, right? It's huge. And as a result of that, we're going to start seeing a huge squeeze on that supply. And once we start getting some demand for it, the price is absolutely going to explode to the upside, right? So there's a few interesting targets, right? Obviously, we had the Fibonacci over here showing 9.2 cent. We have the Fibonacci over this side showing 7.2 cent. So the 9.2 cent is 428% away from our current position. I think that's super achievable and we should get there pretty quickly. With that being said, I do have a 30 cent target, okay? A 30 cent target is 1,647% away from our current position. Now, that 30 cent target, I think, is something that we could see happen if we get some marketing and some good exchange listings, okay? Because we've got one of the biggest squeezes on the supply right now, right? So that's huge squeeze on the supply. The more people that talk about it, the more people that try to get people involved with multivac, be that to try to build on the ecosystem, understand the technology, just buy it and stake it, get it out of circulating supply, is going to have a huge impact on the price of MTV, right? And it won't take much if we get a main exchange listing like Binance, for example, this price is absolutely going to go nuts, right? And 30 cent might even be a small target, right? But for us right now, that is a huge win, specifically buying it at less than a cent and seeing it surge so much, right? So this is huge, and I do think that it's possible. Obviously, it does rely on the MultiVac team getting it listed on exchanges like Binance, Coinbase, or whatever. And also relies on marketing to occur. So, more YouTubers talking about MultiVac and the team themselves, trying to actually get a little bit more news coverage of the project and everything that they're doing. And with that kind of stuff done and out of the way, you could start to see a huge surge with the price. And I do think a 30-cent target is something that we should be looking for. That being said, though, we do have some interesting targets that are based on the technicals, right? So we have 9.2 and 7.2 cents. So these are interesting things that I do think that are likely to come in anyway. So with the prices that we've been buying MultiVac at, seeing approximately an 8x on the current position isn't too bad either. So right, what we're going to be talking about next, though, is obviously what's going on here with our stochastic. We can see that we're moving back up to the upside after a bit of volatility. So we were moving down. Okay, so we had this downward trend. And if I actually draw a trend line on here, what we're looking for here is to break this trend, okay, and basically push on up. I think that's going to be pretty easy to do. So we are starting to move back up to the upside, right? So overall, that's looking pretty good. Now, when I jump down into our hourly view, and we just expand this up for a sec and bring this down, here we can see that we had this upward trend that was broken, tested as resistance. We broke through it in a really good, strong way back here, basically on the 1st of October. We found resistance at the previous high, okay, that 1.8 cent area. And we're pulling back down towards our trend line. We're oversold, so my expectations are on the smaller time frame here is to get that huge surge back to the upside. We should blast through 1.8, and we should be targeting this area just here at 2.1 cent. There's going to be a little bit of resistance on that journey to the upside, such as 1.9 and probably 2 as well as 2.1, right? So I think if we can get some good momentum behind us, we could see 2.1 come in before having a pullback. If not, then I think 1.9 is going to probably be the barrier, but it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. Currently trading at 1.75 cent. A good push to the upside now to find that next level, and then back test on this area, the previous 1.8 area, as a support level that will then allow us to continue to grow. Now, the thing with MultiVac is you get huge surges like this, right? You get small pullbacks where profits are taken, trading bots and all that kind of stuff, and then you continue that growth to the upside. But overall, everything is looking pretty good, and a good push to the upside is under my expectations, with new all-time highs just around the corner. Loads of progress has been made with MultiVac, and I think it's going to continue as we get through the remaining month of October and go into November in, again, a really strong way. Overall, my expectations are that we are pushing up to 1.8, push past 1.8, go to 1.9. If we can get past 1.9, we should be looking at 2 and then 2.1 cent, okay? Those are the areas in the next 24 to 48 hours. And from there, we should be looking for a small pullback to back test on the previous area of resistance and turn that into a support line. And then we'll be pushing on up again as we look to head up towards our 2.8 cent area, which is our 1.618 Fibonacci retracement extension level. And that level is the first target that we actually have that's new price discovery. Okay, so overall, everything's looking pretty good. Nothing really to worry about too much. Just want to see how things progress now with marketing and exchange listings. We've got some fantastic opportunities here with MultiVac, huge squeeze on the supply. Now all we need is the demand. Once the demand comes in, the price for MultiVac is going to absolutely surge. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there, but hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.